Chào mọi người đến với chương trình dành cho các phụ huynh và các em dưới 4 tuổi. Đây là Minh An từ Children Discovery Museum. Hôm nay An rất là hân hạnh được giới thiệu với mọi người một người bạn của An, đó là cô Maria Natad-Mapagu. An quen biết cô qua cái việc thông dịch cho cô tại các cái buổi mà giám định về ngôn ngữ cho các em mầm non của học khu Milpitas. Hi Maria, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. First, would you please tell us about who you are, what are you doing, and how long you've been in this field?
Okay. So my name is Maria, and I'm a mom of 3. And by profession, I'm a speech language pathologist, and I work for a school district. And I've been practicing this profession for almost 20 years.
As a parent, it can be very frustrated when the baby crying and we don't know why. He's hungry, or he tired, is hot, or he has a dirty diaper. The babies are just learning language. So what is another way for you to communicate with them while showing them how they communicate their needs to us?
Okay. So it's very important that as parents we teach our children, our babies, how language at a very young age, and for them to be able to communicate back to us. It's also very important for us to teach gestures, and this can include typical gestures that we use, but this can also include using baby sign language, and this lays the foundation for using words to communicate.
Thank you. Can you tell me about what is baby sign language is?
Okay. Well, baby signing refers to the use of signs that's derived from American Sign Language, or ASL. But there's also different kinds of sign language, such as British Sign Language, Japanese, but then you modify it to emphasize a sign or a word.
And then what are the benefits of the baby sign language?
Well, right now, there's still a lot of research to do on the benefits of using sign language. But currently, what they have seen is that one benefit is that at an early age, children who are able to sign or use effective gestures can communicate to replace other communication ways that are less effective. For example, crying. That means the babies are able to help to communicate sooner, and it reduces the frustration on the parents. Another benefit that they've seen is that the children tend to have better memory.
Some parents think that teaching their baby sign language may delay their speech. Is that true?
Well, that's definitely a common concern. However, most studies show that it actually helps with language development in a way wherein you're giving your child like a head start in language, even before he or she is able to say words.
Then when should the parents start teaching the baby sign language?
Well, from what I've seen, most parents, it makes sense for most parents to introduce baby sign language when the child is able to sit up and then move his or her hands. But as in my profession, or even as a mom, I think it's always good to start as early as you can, because babies absorb a lot of language even before they start to speak, even if they're not doing the sign, but they're watching you do the sign. In a study of children who are exclusively signing, they make their first sign at about 8 to 9 months old.
So what if the baby doesn't sign back right away?
Well, it's all right if they don't sign back. As always with language, they start to understand first before they speak. So in the same way, having your child hear the word and see your sign is an important first step.
Then how often should we practice baby sign language with our child in order to make it work?
Well, as always, repetition is definitely key to teaching, and that includes teaching signs. What's also important is that you teach it in the context. So, for example, when during mealtime or bath time, or while the child is playing, or while you're playing together, rather than teaching it just using flashcards or videos.
Then how do we teach baby sign language?
Well, there's a lot of ways to teach it. I think the most common one would be if you hold your baby on your lap with her back to your stomach, so that you're able to embrace him and hold his or her arms and hands to form the signs. And sometimes it also helps if you sort of angle the baby a little bit so he can
see
you.
Oh.
Another way is to, like I mentioned earlier, use the signs during actual daily activities like bath time and meal time. Yeah. And another way is for children, since we're expecting them to hear the word while we're signing, it also helps if you say the word, and it's also important actually to say the word while you're making the sign. But sometimes it's also good to turn or to not say the word while you're making the sign, so that the baby understands that the sign has meaning even without the word. Okay. So later on, for most children who are typically developing, when your baby starts to develop using words, eventually those signs can get replaced by the actual words, and that will become his favored way of communicating. Another way is because you want it to be meaningful for your baby, you pick the words that are frequently used that and are motivating to your child. For example, milk is very motivating since they drink. And then you don't have to sign every word in the sentence, and just use the sign as it comes up in the conversation or the activity. And of course, you want to make it fun and engaging for your child.
Could you please show us some baby sign language basic?
Now that I have a 7-month-old, I'm starting to teach him some signs. I started teaching him very early, just showing him, and he's actually showing interest by looking at my hands and when I'm doing it. So I've started with like more. So more.
Okay. So you doing this and you saying it more.
Yes, I say the word and I do the sign.
How about milk?
Milk, I've been teaching that a lot too. So milk is like kind of like squeezing it, like
this. The cow.
Cow.
I have a question. So they can, we can say in Vietnamese, right? Instead of done, you can say xong rồi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Use the language that you're more comfortable in. And
is there anything else?
Eat is like putting your fingers.
So you hold your hand like this?
Like you're picking something to eat and then put it in your mouth. So you're not actually putting it in your mouth, but just towards your lips.
Oh, okay. How about say thank you?
Thank you is, I believe it's like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay. One last question. Can you recommend a website where we can download this baby sign language resource?
I made sure I picked something where it's free, because I don't want to have you guys buy anything. There's a lot of resources. So I picked one where it's a website that was created by a speech pathologist. It's speechandlanguagekids.com.
Thank you, Maria. This is such useful information. Please continue to keep up your good work to our community. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's always good to connect with our families who are speaking Vietnamese, because we do serve a lot in the community.
Rất mong là quý vị phụ huynh cảm thấy buổi nói chuyện hôm nay rất là hữu ích và thú vị. Hãy suy nghĩ cách dùng cái ngôn ngữ này để mà nói chuyện với em bé mình càng sớm càng tốt. Cảm ơn mọi người đã theo dõi chương trình. Hẹn gặp lại vào tuần sau. Xin chào tạm biệt. Bye. Bye, Maria. Take care.
Cảm ơn quý vị đã theo dõi chương trình phát sóng trên Virtual Purple Museum của chúng tôi. Nếu quý vị đang thưởng thức các chương trình này, xin vui lòng xem xét đến việc đóng góp để hỗ trợ cho những nỗ lực của chúng tôi. Chương trình phát sóng vào mùa hè của chúng tôi là vào mỗi thứ Tư và thứ Sáu trên Facebook và YouTube. Để được cập nhật thông tin, xin ghi tên vào danh sách email của chúng tôi. Truy cập www.cdm.org và ghi tên ngay hôm nay.